What's up, everybody? Joe White here, and today I am back in Oregon. And I was here 2 weeks ago. Tonight I'm parked about 30 miles north of Eugene, Oregon. Um, about 2 weeks ago, I was parked at this very same place where I am now, and a huge ice storm hit, which had me trapped here for almost 48 hours. And luckily, I was able to make it up through Portland, cross I-84, and through the rest of the state. Luckily, this time there is no snow, there is no ice. It's just a little bit of a fog, and they're calling for rain. So that's a little bit about how I'm doing. Um, and I wanted to talk a little bit today about the whole Vince McMahon WWE thing. I did a little bit of research into this woman who is making these allegations. Um, People go, why would you dig around on her? Why would you do that? Hasn't she been through enough? And to a certain extent, yes, you're right. Um, However, I'm going to state this right off the bat. What this woman went through subsequently after the initial relationship. Do I think this relationship started off as consensual? Yes. Um, do I think it ended up being consensual? No. Um, what this woman went through toward the end of the relationship and after the initial consensual part is absolutely horrific. It's absolutely horrifying. No woman should ever have to go through that. Um, and I do feel a little bit bad for this woman. Now, why I say a little bit is because I don't, you know, the lawsuit states that this woman, they make it out to, and the media has made it out to be like this too, that this woman was so hard on her look and that she desperately needed a job because she desperately needed money and she desperately needed a place to, to work. And here's the thing. Yes, she did need a job, obviously, but the woman was not exactly living on Skid Row. Um, the woman was not exactly homeless. The woman was not exactly in financial peril. Now, that being said, I don't know the woman's complete financial history. I'm not in her life. But something about this and what I found on the internet made me, pardon me, it made me really kind of question how down on her luck this woman was. And I had conversations with people who said, yeah, she was in a condo building that Vince was staying in, and Vince McMahon ain't staying in no no hovel, as it were, as we'll soon find out. Um, but then people go, well, maybe she was couch surfing with the neighbor who introduced her to Vince. Maybe she would, because that's how all this started. She was introduced to Vince McMahon by a neighbor who lived in that apartment building along with Janelle Grant, as we'll soon see or find out. Um, and then that's where the whole relationship took off. Now, here's where things kind of, for me, kind of go, eh. I kind of tilt my head to the side like a dog who's like wondering what's up. Um, the apartment building where Vince McMahon and this woman lived. I'll just read you the Facebook page or Facebook post. And I did some digging on her. And all I had to do was Google Janelle Grant, and Stamford, Connecticut. And this came up. Um, in her lawsuit, she claims that she had to file for bankruptcy due to her going broke while taking care of her now dead parents. However, There's an article from Patch.com from 2018 that talks about Miss Grant being a co-chair of a committee. And I'll link the article down below. She's co-chair of a committee that helped buy school supplies for the Boys and Girls Club of Stamford, Connecticut. So what happened is everybody who lives in this apartment building, got together and said, "Hey, let's form a committee. We want to do something nice for this community. Let's raise money to buy school supplies for the Boys and Girls Club of Stamford, Connecticut." And Miss Janel Grant was on that committee, which tells me that if you're on that committee, you're not couch surfing. You live there. You have a residence there. And I don't think that they would let her be on this committee otherwise. So that rules out the couch surfing and down on your luck. And people go, well, how does it rule that the down on your luck part out? Well, the committee was again made up of residents from the high-rise building where Miss Grant lives. The name of that building is Park Tower, Stamford. The building was formerly known as Trump Park, Stamford. Trump Park, Stamford. The building is owned by Donald Trump's real estate corporation. You could go to their website, trump.com/residential-real estate or -real-estate-portfolio /Trump-Park-Stamford-Connecticut. It's there. All you really got to do is search for Trump Park, Stamford, Connecticut, or Park Tower, Stamford, Connecticut, and you'll find it. So you're telling me this woman is so hard up for money, she's so desperately for a job. You know, I don't get the mentality of these people. Like, I'm downsizing to a home. I'm buying a home that is well below my means. That's all I'll say. I don't need a huge mansion on the hill to live in. And renting in Stamford, Connecticut ain't cheap. That's not the cheapest area. I mean, you're right there near New York City. It's not cheap to live there. So, yeah, maybe she lost her job, but if you had to go as far as to file for bankruptcy in 2018, she's living there. You're telling me that you're so down and broken, but yet you can still afford to live in Trump, and basically what is a Trump Tower in Stamford, Connecticut? Now, again, I will restate what this woman went through in the end was horrible. Vince McMahon is a downright scumbag. But, and the gifts that she got from this thing. She didn't mind taking all these gifts. I can pull that up like right now. Here we go. That McMahon gave Janel Grant. I should have had this pulled up. I'm still sniffling. It's been, godly, 5 weeks almost. This is from fandomwire.com. I'm reading this here. Here's a list of gifts that McMahon gave this woman. Now, my thing is, why didn't this woman pull out when things started to get hairy? And people go, well, she's in danger of losing her job. Well, you could find another job. I don't get how, if I go to my corporate headquarters for the company that I drive for, and the corporate owner goes, I'll give you $1 million if you blow me, I'm going to look at him and go, so long, pal. I'm going to go drive for another company. I don't need the money that bad. I don't need to violate my ethics and my morals that bad. She had to like it at some point, folks. Not everything is as it seems with this woman. Here's a list of gifts. This is starting in 2019. So she had already been living in that apartment building for at least a year when this relationship started. 2019 gifts: alternative clinic medical care and medical and cosmetic services and products. Clubhouse access to the Belmont Stakes horse race. This woman's wearing, as you'll see here, she's wearing expensive jewelry. She's going to horse races. McMahon showering her, sugaring her, if you will. And at first she liked it. Again, the relationship turned sour at one point. She did sign an NDA when she could have said, no, screw you. I'm not signing your NDA. I'm going to tell the whole world what happened now, as opposed to 2 years from now when you stop paying me. But here's continuing again. WrestleMania private full day transportation and premium tickets. A $2,000 Nordstrom gift card. A massive box of Godiva, which I'm assuming is chocolates. She kept tabs of all this. She kept tabs on all this. Then 2021 comes around. Now that was 2019. 2021 comes around. Where's 2020 in all this? Anyway, 2020. This is right at the height of COVID. Maybe he didn't see her at all in 2020. Because maybe if you leave the house, you're looking a little bit suspicious in 2020. But anyways, a list of items received by Miss Grant from Mr. McMahon in 2021 includes $20,000 towards surgery paid directly to a surgeon's office. That to me says some form of plastic surgery. Pearl/diamond pave lariat necklace from Betteridge in Greenwich, Connecticut. It's a private jewelry store in Greenwich, Connecticut. It's not cheap. Now the following comes from Nordstrom. Nordstrom's. Again, stuff ain't cheap, folks. She accepted it. Blue cashmere knee-length cardigan. Blue Burberry check cashmere scarf. Blue cashmere and fur hat. Gray cashmere shawl. Celine sunglasses. All of that came from Nordstrom. Cable knit throw blanket. Large bouquet of flowers delivered approximately every other week. Guys, I mean, come on. She knew what she was doing. Again, that makes no excuse for the rape, and it should have stopped there before the NDA was signed. Before the NDA was signed. Remember, he did not make her sign the NDA until they were going to break it off, until Linda found out about it, and they were going to break the whole thing off. Think about this, guys. She was living in the lap of Vince McMahon's luxury. Doesn't excuse what McMahon did toward the end of the relationship. Doesn't excuse the allegations of rape, which is pretty clear that's what happened. Does not excuse the sex trafficking. List of items received by Miss Grant from McMahon in 2022 includes a 2022 BMW 430 XL or XI. That's at least a $30,000 car, wouldn't you say? $5,000 gift certificate at Lanphier Spa. 2 private catered chef dinners or chef catered dinners in McMahon's condo. I wouldn't count that as a list of things. He bought you dinner before he had his way with you. Gold and diamond pave paperclip necklace from Betteridge in Greenwich, Connecticut. More jewelry from the expensive jewelry store. $15,000 in Bloomingdale's gift cards, which we now know that those were delivered after she had already started to pretty much say, hey, I've had enough of this. He sugared her even more. Food assortment display food assortment display, and antique tea ceremony set from Saudi Arabia. Now this one's kind of crazy because he's using the blood money that he's getting from the Saudi prince to buy gifts for his mistress. Again, scumbag. And large bouquets of flowers delivered approximately every other week. Vince continues to deny these, and then everybody today, again, I'm not excusing what McMahon did here. He's a scumbag. I got to reiterate that because everybody's going to go, well, you're on McMahon's side. No, I'm not. But I'm also not. What I'm trying to get here is that this woman is not. She's a victim, but in my opinion, she let herself become a victim. She could have went to the law right after the rape, but she didn't. And everybody I've talked to goes, yeah, I'll let McMahon shit on my head for $1 million. So I'm going to bring this video here to a close. I was going to get into more stuff like the Rumble and Punk's injury happening, which, goddamn. Dude, if you get it, this is the third time. Granted, one of the three was not was your fault because you did the stupid stage dive and ruined your foot. But man, if people sit there and go, well, he wasn't in ring shape and he has to prepare his muscles differently. The man's had almost 6 months. Over 6 months. And he was blown up in that Rumble. Now, I'm a CM Punk fan. I'm a huge CM Punk fan. Dude, you got to get it together, brother. I know. Imagine that the fat white guy telling another guy to telling a pro athlete to get his ass together. Whatever. Anyway, stupid Mark Joe White. Anyway, the McMahon thing though, and people are going, how could WWE bring him back after they knew about all this? I don't think they knew the whole thing. And two, you have to remember when you're the majority stock owner of the company, which Vince McMahon still was at the time, then you kind of have your say in what happens. And you're going to kind of have your way of who's on the board, who's not on the board. McMahon forced his way back in because he was well within his legal right to do so. Again, I'm not defending it. Should they have called for a vote of no confidence? Yeah, but it's not going to matter much because he's the majority stock owner. He owned at that time 51%. Now it's different. Ari Emanuel and them own the majority of the stock. And Vince had it written into the sale agreement that they could not get rid of him. He either had to resign or die. So everybody like Newsweek and everybody calling into this whole hashtag boycott WWE. It's a new time. It's new ownership. He's gone now. The current regime who bought the company were not the ones that brought him back. If anything, they got rid of him and pretty much pushed him to the side and gave him like a little ceremonial nothing role in the company when they did it, when they brought him in. Now, again, do I think that Ari Emanuel and the TKO group knew 100%? Like Nick Khan, did I think he knew 100%? No. Do I even think his daughters knew what was going? His daughter, I should say. He only has one. Do I think Stephanie knew what was going on 100% when she left the company? No. The only thing that everybody knew, except for Vince McMahon and this woman, up until the text messages and the NDA was broken and everything like that, knew was that, hey, he paid her a bunch of hush money. And guess what, folks? She took the hush money. That's one thing that We got to look at both edges of the sword here. It's a very double-edged sword. As my reefer unit runs in the background, she accepted the money. At the end of the day, she put pen to paper, and Vince may have threatened her. I got lots of legal lawyers. I got Jerry McDevitt, and maybe that scared her. But at the end of the day, you had to look at. I have all these text messages. I have all these gifts he sent me. I have proof that he raped me. But no, she let herself get scared by Vince McMahon threatening her with a bunch of lawyers. So I have sympathy for her. Again, what Vince did to her was pathetic and illegal. But she should have went to the damn. This should have happened. This should have happened a year ago. This whole thing should have happened well over a year ago. She should have went public with it. And the only reason why she went public, let's not forget this, the only reason why she went public was that Vince stopped paying her. Why did Vince stop paying her? Because she leaked this shit to the Wall Street Journal 2 years ago. Before this sale, about a year before the sale. So if she had not leaked it to the Wall Street Journal, Vince McMahon probably would have stopped paying her or wouldn't have stopped paying her, and everything would have continued on the way it was. Kudos to her for coming out. Maybe she figured all this would go away after she leaked it to the Wall Street Journal. Again, allegedly. We don't know that it was her that leaked it. Hell, maybe somebody got a hold of the copy of the NDA and leaked that. But all I'm trying to say is the woman took the money at the end of the day. She did not have to sign the NDA. She got bullied, yes, granted, but at some point, the woman ain't exactly stupid. This woman, I have to believe she has a college background. She can't be exactly stupid as to think that, him waving a lawyer at me like a gun can stop me from leaking this, can stop me from potentially ruining this man. And guess what? It would have ruined it. It would have ruined him. All I know is and people could say, well, you've never been put in that position. And yes, I've never been put in that position, but God knows that if somebody comes along and rapes me, I don't care how many lawyers they have. I'm going to leak that shit out there if it's somebody high profile. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. Again, he's a scumbag. He's a fucking scumbag. Excuse my language. He's a real scumbag here. Does he deserve to potentially go to jail for rape? Maybe. He definitely deserves to be forced out of his company, his creation. He used corporate funds to pay this woman off, for crying out loud. He deserves everything he's now getting. And then some. But she's not exactly a saint either. She didn't say no to the Nordstroms and the Godiva chocolates and the flowers being delivered every other week. That's all I'm saying here, folks. She's not 100% a saint in all this either. You got to look at both sides of the coin. We'll see you down the road, folks.